I'll throw one in. Do you want a prize?
Ooh.
Oh, sure.
I have somewhere here, but I don't have anything in front of me. Autographed script covers from a lot of the DC Universe animated movies. I could find one of those and donate it for you to give away for whatever you want.
That would be phenomenal. That is very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
You get the winner and send me the address, and I'll ship it to him.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
All right. We will. One thing I'm going to do right now is just put up today's schedule so you can see what we have right now. So currently,
how the hell am I the opening act for Craig Bierko? My God. Ironically, if you ever saw Cinderella Man, I was actually in the prelim fight. I'm the boxer that gets beat before Craig Bierko gets on there with Russell Crowe. That's a lie. I'm just making that up.
Oh, okay.
Jamie was going, so we're gonna.
I was like, oh wow, I got to go back and watch that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump off the stage and let you two do your stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sometimes I don't tell the truth, Jamie. I'm a publicist.
Yeah. Hey, it's part of the job, right? Yeah.
It's part of the definition.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, for everybody at home, don't forget this is we're raising money for Options Save Lives, and if you are suffering from alcohol use disorder, be sure to check out Options Save Lives because the next life saved might be yours. Really interesting, some of the information on the site. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, the gentleman.
Why would you be?
The gentleman to my right is sort of the man behind the curtain. Has built up a body of work, being a powerful voice for other productions and people, and everything from DC to Disney to sports, you name it. Yeah, like the first 54, as a massive Superman fan, the first 54 DC Universe animated movies, starting with Superman Doomsday, publicity campaigns and premieres and so many different things. And so I'm really excited to kind of peel back the curtain and to borrow some Oz references and talk to Gary Miereanu. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It is my pleasure. Where else would I be on a Sunday morning?
Well, I usually don't go to bed until 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm usually asleep until 3 in the afternoon. So this is new for me. But
I'm the other way. I usually don't go to sleep until 3, maybe 4. And last night I woke up. I'd been sleeping in my chair at 5:30, 13 in the morning, and realized I missed at least half of a Peacemaker episode while I was sleeping.
Oh.
So.
I did that with the new Naked Gun movie not too long. Yeah, I've seen the beginning and I've seen the end, and now I just need to catch up on them.
Hopefully you didn't disturb the other people in the theater.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Well, it's my wife and I on the couch, so
that's good.
and she slept through the entire thing. So yeah. Well, she was asleep before I started the movie, so. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Okay, there we go. It works.
I loved what I saw, but I need to see the rest of it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just absolutely fascinated. They call you the Clan Whisperer and so many things. How did all of this start for you?
Oh my God. The traditional path, as usual, to getting to where I am, I was a sports writer and a sports photographer who became a healthcare writer and in-house writer and a publicist who became a Disney publicist and Dodgers and Warner Brothers. So, the usual pattern most people follow. Honest to God, the reason I am here today, the reason I am who I am, harkens back to a moment. I worked at a place called St. John's Hospital and Health Center in Santa Monica, and it would be one of the two primary hospitals for celebrities in Los Angeles. So I was with Jimmy Stewart and Liz Taylor and you name it, the Spielbergs, the Hanks, the Quaid's, everybody came through there, and I worked with them and learned entertainment PR that way, working with the media and their agents and them individually, and became close with a lot of them. But I announced Cesar Romero's death and some 170 something other ones, but and got to spend some time with Cesar and all towards the end there. But one day the IT guy came in and started working on my computer, and when he got up, this is around 92, I want to say, he changed all the files on my computer to these little deranged looking Mickey Mouse heads. And I was like, what did you do here? What the hell are these things? And he said, oh, you will love this. This is the greatest show ever. It's your sense of humor. You're going to love it. You got to go home. It's on Channel 5 every day at 3:00. It's called The Animaniacs. And I thought, all right, I got to try this out. So then I lived across the street from the hospital. So I went home the next day at 2:55 and sat down and turned on. And from the opening theme song, it started rearranging my brain. And then Pinky in the Brain segment came on, and I was in love. And I'm one of those idiot savants that kind of memorizes credits. And all I wanted to do from that moment on was meet Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson. I wanted to meet those guys. They were, and trust me, this is the days of VHS. I would record that show every day through the week. And then on Saturday morning, I'd sit down with all my breakfast cereal stuff, big bowl of Quisp or whatever. And I would watch 2.5 hours of Animaniacs. And my wife would walk by and look at me and go, what an idiot I married. And I'm going, it's baloney in his slacks. So all I wanted to do was meet those guys. About 5 years later, I had an opportunity to work for Disney, and it didn't pan out. The offer was low, and I was pissed about it. And that that's in the past. I was moving forward, and about 5 or 6 months later, they called again and they said, hey, we've got this brand new show we're filming. It's the biggest green screen show in the world. It's called Disney's One Saturday Morning, and it's going to premiere this fall, and we're filming it. We really need PR help. We never filled that position. Would you do it? Would you do it on a freelance basis? And I was a little still miffed about the original offer, and I kind of wanted to say no. But I said, well, who's the showrunner? And they said, Peter Hastings. And I knew Peter had been instrumental in creating Pinky and the Brain and a big part of Animaniacs. And I went, what time do I have to be there? Because I figured if I met Peter, I could meet Mo and Rob. And flash forward to this day, Mo and Rob and Peter are some of my dearest friends. And cool. I just saw, if you're in LA, or anywhere in the planet where they're performing, Rob travels around with Randy Rogel and sometimes Maurice LaMarche and some of the, Tress and Jess and the gang, and they do Animaniacs Live, and it is a hysterical evening of music and folly. And Rob is now doing a one-man show based out of his book Voice Lessons, and I just saw it on Wednesday night, and it was terrific. Really, if you're a Animaniacs fan, a Rob Paulson fan, a Pinky and the Brain fan, Jimmy Neutron, whatever, it's a feast, and it's Rob just undressed right there in front of you, being his usual humble, wonderful self. So go see it if you get the chance.
I cannot wait to see that. And my first exposure to Maurice was The Real Ghostbusters. And so it was like, and it's funny, like my dad was used to sell satellites back in the days of the big dishes, and so what we used to do is whenever they would do like the airings for the syndication for the week, that's when we would tape it, and I could go back and watch. And we did that when I was little. We did that with He-Man. because I'm slightly older than I look, and so yeah, I was born in '80. So so like I grew up on like Masters of the Universe and all that kind of stuff, and but then Real Ghostbusters was, yeah, I had the jumpsuit, I had all the toys, I mean, Peter Venkman was my guy, but I always thought Egon was cool. So
to each his own.
yeah, exactly. But I loved, I absolutely adored Animaniacs. I mean, I did then, I do to this day. I watched the revival that came up on Hulu.
Yeah,
and really enjoyed that. And yeah, it's just nice to. So yeah, Animaniacs Live. I must see that. Thank you for.
It's fun. Little funny tidbit on the new Animaniacs. I hadn't watched it, and I was getting on a long flight, and I knew they had it on there. It was the funniest thing. I queued it up, and the first thing they put up is a disclaimer warning you that there might be content that's inappropriate for kids. I was like,
yeah,
wow, okay. Might as well go through and slap that on half the Looney Tunes cartoons from the old days too. So
it's crazy. Like I go back and I watch some of the stuff that I watched as a kid that we didn't think anything of, and it's just like, wow, like they would never call this a kid's movie today.
No, like, Mickey walking, in a short, walking with a shotgun, yelling at Pluto, Pluto, you big dope.
Yeah,
it's just really not. But we're PC now, so
yeah, it's crazy the way some things change. It's like, okay, I get that, and then some things change. You're like, wait, but really, was it that bad?
And some things people imagine. I worked at Disney for a decade and full time, and at some point in my first or second year, the operator at the studio figured out that I would answer any call. And so she started putting through all the crazies that called into the studio for things. And the calls were truly incredible, including my own. I mean, I got a bunch of favorites, but there was one lady who called in, and she was pissed. She had been watching an episode of Disney's Hercules, and she told me that she homeschools her kids, and they're very, everything's very Christian upbringing, and
right.
She's very leery of anything on the TV, and she doesn't let them watch it. But she thought, you know what? It's Greek mythology. It might be okay to let them, and she let them watch an episode, and it was an episode with where Ben Stein of Ferris Bueller fame, Bueller, he's doing a guest voice, and he's a know-it-all. And at the end of the episode, she tells me, the Ben Stein character, I can't remember the name of him. He's Encyclopedias or something like that. He says Zeus invites him to sit at his table, and the Ben Stein character says, "Oh, well, will I be sitting on the right side or the left side of you? Because the right side is a place of honor, but on the left side means that I have to pass out the condoms." And I did one of those pull back the phone and look at it moments. I said, "Ma'am, I was there for the recording session. I'm sure you didn't say that. It wouldn't get past our own legal team, let alone broadcast practice and standards of practice. It just couldn't happen. But give me your number. I'm going to go look at the episode and see, just to make sure, because every once in a while something slips through." But right. And I went ahead and looked at it, and sure enough, he said, "If you sit on the left, you have to pass out the condiments."
Yep.
But people hear what they want to hear and see what they want to see, and so just a small example of the questions I would get with that.
I love as soon as you said that she said that she heard condoms. I'm like, I know where this is going.
You can see it coming, right?
Yeah. It's like, this is the thing. people are. I love doing things in ways because people are so many experiences I've had are just examples of human psychology. Because I've got a very good Jack Sparrow costume that I break out for Halloween, and I talked about this a couple hours ago, but I've seen guys that look like linebackers out of a hip hop video come running up to me like they were 3-year-olds asking for a picture. And then I had a woman come up. I was at a Walmart, and when I dress up in the characters, I don't just, I just do the entire thing and walking around and stuff, and so the woman comes up with a guy in tow and comes up. She goes, looks right at, she goes, and I've got a friend of mine, he's checking out, and she goes, I want to go wherever you're going. And I'm going, yes, yes, well, what about him? And she goes, doesn't break a sweat, doesn't turn to look at him, doesn't miss a beat, just goes, oh, he doesn't do it for me. I'm just thinking, you poor bastard, run. Like, but of course I also know the movies well. So I go and look at him and go, you're not a eunuch, are you? And I was like, no, he looks fine. You should go with him, seriously. And and then I don't drink, so I'm the DD. So the drunken pirate is the designated driver for Halloween. So watching people watch me make my way to the driver's seat is peak human psychology.
That's good.
It's just like, and then then I pull up, like, and they're like, so it's the more you kind of get around people, and the more you see like places where they get to react to things, it's wild what goes through people's heads.
Well, one of the reasons I love being at Comic-Con.
Yes. Okay, well, you mentioned you got to spend a little bit of time with Cesar Romero. What was that experience like?
He was a complete and total gentleman, a sweetheart, concerned for others. My best story isn't really from the hospital. It was from a friend of mine got engaged. He proposed to his girlfriend, became his wife.
Yep.
But they were at the Palm on Santa Monica Boulevard back, I think it's still there, and over in Beverly Hills. And he went around the table and got on a knee and proposed. And Cesar Romero was sitting partway across the restaurant, and he got up and came over and congratulated them. I think he sent him a bottle of wine or something like that, or champagne. Went back over, sat down, and he was dining with an opera singer and his wife. And in the middle of the restaurant, about 10 minutes later, the opera singer stood up, pointed to the table, and sang Some Enchanted Evening.
Oh,
who does that? I mean, most celebrities, they're hiding from, they're not wanting the attention. And this guy went out of his way to be nice, and he was always a sweetheart. And I mean, he wasn't well when I had him, but he was just a really nice guy. Most of the people from Batman, from that series that I've met and worked with and gotten to know well, are terrific people. Adam West, Burt Ward. I can't say enough about either one of them. Yeah. Truly, one of the greatest. I was, I'll date myself here. I was 4 turning 5 when Batman started playing on TV, and I watched every episode live. And cool. So Adam West and Burt Ward were literally my boyhood idols. Right. And progressed to Warner Brothers. We put out the Batman box set remastered, first time ever on Blu-ray and all. Yeah. And got to work with Adam, became friends with him, and spent the last several years of his life chatting away with him a lot. And same with Burt. Burt's still a friend to this day. And one of the pandemic year sucked. Our first year sucked. Yeah. But the year started out with a bang, with a call from Burt, like 2 days into the new year saying, "What are you doing next Thursday?" And I was like, "I don't know. You want to have lunch or something?" He said, "Well, sort of. I'm getting a star on the Walk of Fame, and I wondered if you'd sit with me." And so, it broke my heart to have to go do that. That was
Yeah.
one of the great thrills of my life, getting to see Bert honored and have his own
Yeah.
star. And it was so
Oh,
cool. Kevin Smith giving the induction, and it was great fun. So,
yeah.
that's the kind of life I've had. I've gotten to live, that I get to hang with my boyhood idols, and I can't say enough about that.
That's that's so cool. Now you were involved with there were two the animated.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun to do.
Oh, so
They're
tell me about that experience, and like how were they looking forward to this?
I
what
think
was
they really enjoyed it. Yeah, both of them, as well as Julie Newmar, and then the second one, the villain was Bill Shatner, and
yeah.
Bill had a great time. We brought, the first one, recording it was a blast. I mean, everybody at Warner Brothers showed up at the studio the day we recorded Adam. I mean, everybody. There were janitors that showed up. It was unbelievable. Every exec, it was just like, "Oh, Adam," and
Oh, totally.
I got pictures of everybody. It was a blast, and I had a fun time recording it. James Tucker really drove those projects and was wonderful for that, and really made them cool. And I'm thinking Jelinek wrote them, but I'm blanking, and I hope that Michael, I'm sorry if I'm blanking there. But those guys were great with that. And then we had fun with that one, and I had a blast, a little bit of a nerve-wracking blast. I'm not an actor. I'm not a singer.
Yeah.
I have worked with two of the greatest I've worked with the greatest voice directors in the history of man. And I Andrea Romano, Jamie Thomason, and Wes Gleason, but I don't voice direct either. I stay in my lane. That's not something I do. But I came up with a promo idea to revoice a clip of the first movie, and I wanted to get Adam to go ahead and do it, and to make it into a promo for the film rather than the clip that it was. And Adam said sure, and we were in New York doing promotions for I think we were there for New York Comic-Con and promoting the film, and I brought him upstairs to a recording booth at Pullman Studios there in New York, and I had to voice direct him, which was a little nerve-wracking, but I just channeled what I'd learned from my Hall of Fame voice directors, and that was fun. And we had a great time promoting it. Adam and Bert and Julie, we took them all and did a Hall H panel, and Adam we did in New York, and then we came back a couple of years later for the second one, but Adam had passed.
Yeah.
But we had Bill and Bert, and it was one hell of a day with those guys. This is how popular Adam West and Bill Shatner are, as though nobody knows. But you think of them in the geek realm, and that's blanket, right?
Right.
When you get a call from Joy Reid or Joy Reid's producer asking if they can come to New York Comic-Con and interview each one of them, you're something. You've got the juice.
Yeah.
So that was fun too. Yeah, Joey was giddy. So.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing when you see like outside media people getting geeky about the stuff that we get geeky about.
Oh yeah,
it's
that in itself is one of the. I've had the pleasure of working with actors who touched people's childhoods at such a stage that even the most grizzled, cynical journalists melt And the best example I can give is Wayne Allwine, the long-time voice of Mickey Mouse, passed a number of years ago. The late great Wayne Allwine. But Wayne would open every interview, and forgive me, he always loved my deep nasally voice. I can't do Mickey, but I'd say, Wayne, meet Jeff. Jeff, meet Wayne, and Wayne would open with, "Hiya, pal." And then just imagine Mickey saying that, and suddenly you got a 5-year-old interviewing him.
Exactly.
Just the best.
Yep.
I've told this story 100 times. That might be an understatement on how many times. But when we were at New York with Adam promoting the series on Blu-ray, it was the same year Tomorrowland had gone to New York Comic Con to do a panel. And I had the pleasure of introducing Adam West to George Clooney. And,
wow.
Yeah, and George is still sheepish about having, the Batman experience. And when I introduced them, you had to see George. I mean, it's George Clooney, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And I introduced them, and Adam had his hands extended. It's a long story, but I'll tell it short. Adam had his hand already extended when George turned, and I was saying, "George Clooney, meet Adam West." And George turned, and they went to shake hands, and George went from George Clooney to, "I'm so sorry." He was the embarrassed 4-year-old in his mother's kitchen. It was, honest to God, one of the greatest moments I've ever got to experience, and few people believed it until George talked about it. So I was forgiven.
Right?
But, those kinds of moments where they just, they're so ingrained in our childhood that you can't help but melt in front of them. So and 98% of the time they're really great people.
Yep.
If you had something you could say negatively, it's only because they're so overburdened by people wanting to be, in their face or on their tail the whole time that that's a hard life to navigate. But they do it, and it's really wonderful. That's one of the greatest parts of my job, if not the greatest part. I get to work with some of the most talented people on the planet, and I don't draw, and I don't write. Well, I do write, but I don't draw. I don't act. I don't sing, but I get to put a spotlight on the ones who do, and it's really fun to both to do it and to see the reaction to it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that, and your passion for it is clear, which is beautiful to see. Like getting to I have my hands in a million different things, and but those things that you get to do that just sing to you, there's just nothing like that. And it's just that's amazing. Kristen says, "I remember Adam in Tammy and the Doctor."
I'm reading that, and I have no idea what Tammy and the Doctor is.
Let's see. Let's see here. Let's get out the phone and let's see we got. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Kristen, if you can type what that is, because see,
a TV show from 1962.
Yes, yeah, comedy romance, Southern Sweetheart, Tammy Tyree. Sandra D takes her search for love to Los Angeles. A matronly friend of hers. Okay,
oh, it's the Tammy series. Okay, now I get it.
Okay, interesting, huh? Yeah, that's cool. So and I had a peruse through your website, and
oh boy,
I saw something, and I'm like, oh, Lex and Otis, you got to be a Superman fan.
Well, Lex and Otis is so Jay Oliva is a phenomenal animation director who directed 10 or 11 or 12 of the DC Universe animated movies, including Dark Knight Returns and things like that. Really good guy. And he splintered off and started his own studio. He actually was also like if Zack Snyder did a movie, Jay storyboarded the entire, every action scene.
Okay.
Really amazing artist, knows his superheroes and his animation directing as well as anybody on the planet. Started his own studio, Lex and Otis Studios, in Glendale and other parts of the world, and grabbed me over to represent them as from the moment he was ready to start. So Jay and I have been together a very long time. So yeah, I didn't name that. That is
Okay.
that is Jay naming it Lex and Otis. And yeah, perfect, right?
Yeah.
Just hilarious. He does. Yeah, there have been a number of properties that he has worked on and is working on that studio is producing.
That's cool.
Great, yeah, really great series called Tresse that was on Netflix. If you like Constantine, imagine Constantine, only she's a 24-year-old girl who is dealing with Filipino mythology and the occult and the like all over the Philippines. And
that's cool.
It's a really good show. There's another one coming called Infinity, based on the tabletop game, and very sharp aliens, futuristic piece. And yeah, great, really good stuff. So
that's cool. Yeah.
Yes, and I am a Superman fan. If you want to find me on Twitter and Blue Sky, I'm Super PR Guy.
Oh,
and that was
phenomenal.
yeah, that's not a reference to me being a incredibly great publicist. That's just me seeing Superman, Super PR Guy. It was the kind of a spur of the moment. Nathan Fillion told me I had to be on Twitter, took my phone and signed me up and insisted on it. And I kept saying, Nathan, nobody gives a crap what I say. And he kept, no, you have tidbits. You have tidbits. They love tidbits. You have to, what name are we going to put on here? And I barked it out. The next thing I knew, I was on Twitter, and I fought it, but he forced me. So,
well, we all got together. I'm sure you probably, Kristen's probably already said this, but like all of us got together initially because we go to the Superman celebration in Metropolis each year.
I'm brutally aware. Steve at oh no, I'm blanking on Steve's name. We got Neil Cole with Superman.
Oh, Steve Eunice, you mean? From
Steve Eunice, yeah.
Yep.
Steve Eunice and Neil Cole. I provided both of them. If you ever got a Blu-ray or a DVD of a Superman film or series there, it was because I was shipping them boxes of them to give out at the convention. And I've still never been there, and everybody's told me about it. And one day I'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had Superman costumes. My mother, my grandmother made all kinds of outfits for me as a little kid. And so a couple Saturdays ago, I helped out of town. This is the costume that my mother and my grandmother made. It is 30 years old this year. It was made in 1995. But it was made to go down to the Superman celebration. I'll tell you, when you do get a chance to go, you go the first year, and you're probably going to want to go every year because the guests are great. That's fine. That's a lot of fun, but it's like a family reunion, like a fan family.
Event. Yeah.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. And a lot of the stuff is like the Q&As are under the tent outside. So they're free. They're free for everybody to go see. And it's getting to be a bigger deal. Or, after COVID, it's still kind of
right.
Rebuilding, but there were tons of people who would converge on this, but it still has, they're finding a way to thread like the small town thing with the Comic-Con it's a really interesting mix.
I'll make it someday. Ed Gross is a dear friend of mine. You're probably aware of him at one point or another. He writes amazing books and great journalist, old style, classic, good guy. And he always sings the praises of it. And its timing is bad for me. I think it's right before, isn't it June?
It's the second weekend in June.
Yeah, and that's I'm usually at that point doing 80 to 90 hours a week working to get Comic-Con ready. So it's bad timing for me. Plus, it's right around my wife's birthday. So, but yeah, I would love to. I'd love to get there someday because it looks like fun.
Yeah. Kristen said, it reminded me that Ed is a staple of the Writer's Way Artist Alley. And hopefully we can get you out there because it's and actually if you've never been to Metropolis, just getting to see the statue and the museum and all that stuff, even not during the celebration, it's really a great thing for super fans to see. It's I just had to had to put a plug in there since I knew you were I gathered that you were a Superman fan. Actually, speaking of that, what got you into Superman?
Ooh, that's
what was the first thing you saw?
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of when you asked that. I'm not sure if it was. I think I watched the old serials when I was a kid. The old George Reeves.
Yeah.
I'm positive I watched them when I was a kid. Because I know I was, thoroughly aware by the time we got around to Christopher Reeve, which solidified any love of Superman for anyone. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure, because I think I watched George Reeves before I even picked up a comic book to start reading. So that must be it. But come on, I mean, it's Superman. He's just part of the fabric, and I've had it's fun. I've always almost always gotten to help with casting, and it's been cool. Fun to hear the various Supermen we've had and the way they've approached it and how they do it. And, especially from an animated perspective, obviously Tim Daly, and Tim's a friend, and he's really fun to work with. Good guy. Jerry O'Connell, I can't say enough about. One of the most normal, easygoing guys you'll ever meet, and truly appreciates Superman. I wish I had a picture right now I could show it to show you how into things Jerry can be. When we did Death of Superman and actually Reign of the Supermen, we were back in New York for a premiere and at the DGA, and Jerry calls me about a week before, 2 weeks before, and he says, "Hey, what are you wearing? What are you wearing to the premiere?" And I said, "Oh, just probably wear my suit." And he said, "Okay, just regular suit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my gray suit. You've seen it before." And he was like, "Oh, okay, good." I was like, "Jerry, were you worried we were going to wear the same thing?" He was like, "A little, but I just wanted to check." Okay, show up that night. Jerry is wearing, you can find these online, I'm positive. Jerry is wearing a suit that is blue head to toe, and it's got the Superman emblem all over it, and his tie is a Superman tie, and he's completely decked out in a Superman suit. And at one point he said something to the media about, "I haven't had a dessert in 3 weeks. I've been trying to lose weight so I can get into this outfit." And I was talking to Rebecca Romaine, his wife, who played Lois Lane in those movies, off to the side, and I said, did Jerry really not have desserts for 3 weeks? He goes, "Gare, he's barely eaten in 3 weeks. The thing showed up and it was just fitting him so snug that he's been working out and not eating for 3 weeks to fit into that damn thing." But that can explain Jerry to a T. And then you've got we've had some other greats, but Kyle MacLachlan and boy, I'm blanking on some of the others. Darren Criss was the most recent, and Darren, you know him from Glee, and you know him from Broadway, and you don't know what you're getting until you walk in and you sit down and we start doing an EPK interview, and what's supposed to be going for about 30 or 40 minutes ended up going for an hour and a half, because D is so into comics and superheroes and Superman itself and knew everything, and was one of the he's always he's one of the best people on the planet. You'll hear me say that a lot, but that's the way I feel. He really is gold, and he embraced it with both arms like you wouldn't believe, and really ate that role up. So and if he's coming back to maybe Happy Ending, so if you're in New York and you haven't seen that play yet, dazzling. I got to see it the first Sunday it opened, and it was just a completely different experience, and wonderful and heartwarming, and Darren kills it. So
that's cool. He's a hell of a talent. I mean,
Steve Kristen says, check the Instagram chat. Hey, there's the picture. There you go.
Oh,
is that amazing or what?
That is fantastic. I think I've got that material. I think that material's from like the 90s or something. I've got that. I don't have the, it wasn't a suit. We didn't make it into a suit. I think we made it into like pillows, or my grandmother made pillows or something out of it. But yeah, that's phenomenal. I've had Superman suits since I was like, I don't know, like a year old. Like it's Superman and Elvis were like my two biggest things growing up. So that's a joy to see. That is so cool.
Amazing.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, the silly adventures I've gotten to be on.
I mean, I'm sure I know the answer to this already, but like, I'm sure we've already touched on it, but just in case, what if you trying to think of it? Yeah, I'll just go with this, and then if we've already answered, we'll do something else. What is your favorite part of? Is there one piece of the work? Because it's said that that you don't really take a break because you love what you're doing so much, and you're speaking my language. That's amazing. Is there one piece that kind of stands out of a part of what you do that just really speaks to you the most out of all of it?
Ooh, well, if we're talking about things that, that's a hard one, because I really do love it all. I mean, there are hellacious days. Don't get me wrong. There are somebody just said the other day, just because I make it look easy doesn't mean it's frequently heavy, or something like that. But but it is such a joy to do what I do. One, because most of the time I truly believe in what I'm promoting. Two, I've usually been there from the start on any project that I'm involved in. So it's something I'm especially in my decade with Disney, or 17 years with Warner Brothers. I kind of insist that I'm involved from the moment a script is greenlit, or a film is, a script is written, and I get to be part of the casting process and part of the filmmaking process, doing everything all the way through, being at a lot of the records, and doing interviews with, what we call EPK, electronic press kit. When you're watching a clip from an interview of somebody, a lot of the time it's the publicist or the EPK producer who actually did that interview and handed that piece to media for them to put out there. But from a sheer silliness, okay, no, I'm going to go back. Truly one, the talent is so wonderful, and I don't just mean the actors. I mean producers, writers, the animators, the filmmakers, the directors that I work with in live action and animation and video games. They're all passionate and smart and fun and get it and make my job easier most of the time. And it's a joy from that perspective. It's wonderful to both. This one I can't emphasize enough. Not necessarily what I do, but being able to put a spotlight on it so the fans get to know about it and see it, and then to see the fans in action and to see their reaction to it and to the people, and not just like applause in an audience at a premiere, but to get to see them talk to the talent and tell them what something meant to them. And I when I first started working at Disney, first couple of years, I would, first year and a half, I'd drive home and I'd think, what did I do today? I used to joke around when I'd introduce myself talking to a school. I'd say, yeah, kids, I watch cartoons and then I tell people about them. That kind of summarized what I did. And but it also, it put it in a nutshell, they could understand it, but it also, diminished what I did. But what I do is not the important part. It's getting people to see it and get people to feel it. And but I drive home and I think, I didn't cure cancer today. What did I do for society today? And it wasn't until I linked up the places I was working with, people like the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the like, and got to bring people in and have them really experience it and see what it meant to them, or to get to be at a convention. That was something we didn't get in the old days. Now we get it every day. You get to hear directly from someone that a cartoon changed their life. A cartoon changed my life. But I mean, a lot of them, you see people who were going through cancer, or were going through the death of someone close to them, or just didn't see reason to live or contribute or do, that a piece of entertainment affected them so that it brought them, that changed their lives and made them a better person, or gave them direction, or just gave them something to smile about in an otherwise crappy existence. And that is so trying to think of the word for it. It's so fulfilling to get to witness that, and especially to see, even the other night, Rob Paulson, he's humble as it gets, talking about how Maurice LaMarche, they both will tell you, most people will tell you, the Julie Nathansons of the world, the Eric Bauses, they all will tell you how gratifying that is. And it's so wonderful to see it happen in front of you, and to get to know, okay, I am doing something important, because the more people see this, there's a chance it will affect someone, and that's great.
Yep.
And then for me personally, just the silliness of, there's nothing more entertaining. I know I'm turning the page completely 180 right now, but
it's all good.
There's nothing more entertaining than a voice recording session.
Yeah.
Especially a group session, because you get, I always reference this one. I always took Friday off here in LA to go to rehearsal for John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl. And in the old days, we used to sit around, and in the 70s, 80s, even in the early 90s, he would stay after and sign autographs and chat with the, in the 70s and the early 80s, there'd be 10 of us sitting there with him, and he'd sign everybody's album and talk away and sign posters and do whatever you wanted. But I would always take that Friday off. And one day I took the Friday off, went to rehearsal in the morning, and then stopped in on a recording session for the Spectacular Spider-Man, Greg Weisman's version. And it was, in the booth was Josh Keaton, Spider-Man, Kevin Michael Richardson, who played umpteen roles, Clancy Brown, I think he was Rhino, Alan Ratchins, who was Green Goblin, and John DiMaggio.
Wow.
And the group are in there, and Jamie Thomason was directing, and we had no women in the room, so Jamie had Big John DiMaggio do the voice of, just do scratch for the voice of every female in the cast. And simultaneous to that, Kevin Michael Richardson is going to play basically 12 different roles, because the theme of the episode is Rhino figures it out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man's real name, and he's going to find Peter Parker. But the way he does it is he pulls open the phone book, and it's got, every Peter Parker listed, that there's, like 30 of them. So he's going to go door to door, knocking on them. And whatever door he opens, Kevin Michael Richardson is going to be the person answering the door. Only he's playing a old, African-American jazz musician. He's going to be playing an old white Jewish guy, basically my grandfather. He's, or my great uncle Moish. He's going to be everything he did. And between KMR doing his bit and John doing his shtick as the female roles, watching everyone in the booth try not to laugh and screw up takes was painfully funny. But that's a commonplace bit for a recording session. It's just, these guys aren't just talented with what's on the page.
Yeah.
They can improvise, they're funny, they're smart, they get it, and they're good actors. And that's something everybody, whoever says, oh, I could be a voice actor, needs to know, is you gotta be an actor first. So
yep.
It isn't just, I get to go in the booth every once in a while and play, security guard number 2 who gets shot or hit with a bomb or something, and I get to do it, and that's the extent of my acting possibilities. So
those are the fun things, and it's also like is I did a lot of voice work with Elvis Presley Enterprises. So when you would go into Lowe's, and if you go into Lowe's and you'd see like the Christmas ornaments and all that kind of stuff, half the time that was my voice you were hearing on the Elvis products. And not half the time, most of the time. And so but then I've also done a little bit of video game stuff. And what's really funny is you send things to the producer, and because they're listening to like 40 minutes of stuff that you're doing, like you win, you lose. And then so you kind of throw in some, it's like, you suck, and just to mix it up. And just he said he spat out milk all over the keyboard, and his wife was wondering why he was like mopping up stuff on it. So it's fun to like you're saying, that stuff behind the scenes, it's fun to kind of. Trevor is asking, hello, I was wondering about your experiences with Scooby-Doo and Batman.
Okay, so I'm not sure if he means the actual movie, or Scooby-Doo meets Batman, or Batman meets Scooby. I can't remember the name of that one, but there was Scooby-Doo Batman Brave and the Bold. Trevor, is that right? Trevor, who was it?
Yeah, Trevor. Was it? Are you talking about the Brave and the Bold, or are you talking about?
I can talk generically about all of them. Yes, Brave and the Bold. That one was so doggone much fun. Again, another James Tucker. James Tucker comes up with stuff sometimes, and it's Batman Brave and the Bold was Tucker and Jelinek, and I'm trying to remember if Brandon Vietti was part of that. But that one was a blast. First off, Diedrich Bader is Batman. Diedrich Bader, again, how many times have you heard this today already? One of the best people on the planet. Gives it his all. Ate that role up. And the Scooby-Doo gang, we did a premiere for it. We had Diedrich, and we had Kate McCucci, another absolute living doll, unbelievably talented. And Matt Lillard, Gray, Delisle, that whole group. You can never say enough about Frank Welker. That entire group, I think the Scooby-Doo gang themselves, the actors and the producers and all of them, They love doing Scooby-Doo on a regular basis, but boy, when you insert an outside entity into it, Batman Brave and the Bold, really fun. I mean, that movie was just fun across the board. The seriousness of Batman inserted into the insanity of Scooby-Doo is just, anytime you can juxtapose those kind of things. Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo meets Kiss, a rock and roll mystery, another unthinkably great. I spent over a year with Kiss in every way possible, and I definitely learned, especially at Comic-Con, that I will never have a life in rock and roll, because they're hilarious and exhausting and intergalactic in so many ways.
That's cool.
But yeah, Batman Brave and the Bold, I'm trying to think of a good story from that one. I think Diedrich laughed his way through half the script. I mean, there were just a lot of fun. Anytime you can put a serious person in with that, and play along, that's gold. Hope I did enough for you there, but I know I didn't. I'd show you pictures, but I don't have them on my.
That's all good. Well, you just knowing, just knowing a little bit about, everybody's, that's cool. And kind of going back to what we were talking about before, I can say this from experience because I've been on both sides of this coin obviously on a much smaller level, but to in a similar degree of just that I would know it, is that tons of people can do amazing things, and if there's not somebody there who knows how to get the word out, nobody knows that it ever happened. and that's it's so important. We back in 2004 did a show with the Jordanaires, Boots Randolph, Bob Moore, DJ Fontana, all of these people. Had a decent crowd, but it's one of those things of it was kind of at an odd time, but still, like, it was in December and it was in Missouri, so the weather's kind of, you never know. But it's one of those things where if you don't have people that know how to get the word out and can just go out there and push, like, it doesn't happen. I mean, it does happen, and sometimes nobody's there, or sometimes it, so it takes, it's kind of like it takes a village, but it takes people to know how to do that stuff. So I have just the absolute utmost respect for what you do, and it's incredible.
Well, thanks. You're saying that, but right now Craig Bierko's in the waiting room going, I'm following a publicist? True story. I love Craig Bierko. I am a Craig Bierko fan. I got to see him in Music Man on Broadway, and it was dazzling. He was perfect for that role. And when Clubhouse first started, I joined and I jumped in on a Clubhouse that he was doing, and I think there were 3 of us there, and I was tickled that he actually said, "And how you doing?" So Craig Bierko, you need to do animation. You need to do animation. You would be good at that. Stick around. He's going to be dazzling here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking. Honestly, the whole weekend has been just an absolute pleasure to watch and to have fun, and like
say hi to my good friend Vinny Rodriguez later for me, please.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. I'll semi end with a little bit of a joke. One of the other things that I do is I one of my YouTube channels is the Elvis Archival Preservation Society. It's all about preserving Elvis history, and we got a crazy hair up our behinds about making a musical kind of like the way they used to make Elvis movies back in the day. So if you ever come across anybody that wants to make, if Mel Brooks ever made an Elvis movie, we have stupid ideas for day. No, I'm just kidding around.
I would watch that.
Yeah, it would be fun. We have a what was it? They go in and they become forest rangers, and they have to feed the squirrels, but they lose the seeds, and so they're Elvis sings a song called "Losing My Nuts." Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But all right, Gary, this has been an absolute joy. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Just
Anytime.
so good. So
Steve's
all
on to
right,
kick me out. We got to get to Steve, and we got to get to Craig.
yeah. So all right, thank you so much.
See y'all later. Thanks.
Yep.
Yep.
Donate,
Bye.
everybody, right over here.
Donate.
Donate.
Oh yeah, script coming to you.
Okay. Yes. Can you take a picture of the script and send it to Kristen, and then we can get it out there?
I'll do that right now.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cool.
All right.
Otherworldly Fundraising is a group of friends who decided to use our nerdy talents to help others. Our charity this year is Options Save Lives, which helps individuals fully recover from alcohol use disorder. Thank you for joining us this weekend and for donating to this worthy charity.